So, the Indiana Fever went down in a hard-fought 90-88-point loss to the New York Liberty. It was a game defined by momentum swings, just run after run, with neither team really able to slow things down or kill the momentum when they needed to. Take the Liberty, for example. An 18-1 burst in the second quarter, then another 16-2 run late in the fourth. On the flip side, the Fever responded with a massive 27-9 run of their own, storming all the way back in the third and early fourth after being down by 15 points. At one point, Indiana even led by 12. But this game, it came down to the wire. Tied at 88 after Aaliyah Boston calmly knocked down 2 free throws, it looked like the Fever might actually pull off the comeback. But then came the controversial call. A whistle on the Fever sent Sabrina Ionescu to the line, with the game hanging in the balance. She hit both free throws. Liberty up 90-88. That's your final. New York moves to 3-0. The Fever fall to 2-2. And yet, even after that, Indiana still had one last shot. They used their reset timeout. Didn't have a full timeout left. So no, they couldn't challenge the foul on the previous play. 2.9 seconds on the clock. The ball goes to Caitlin Clark. She goes up for the shot, and Natasha Cloud is right there. Swipes it clean. No foul call. Just smothering defense. But here's the thing. The Fever felt they weren't getting consistency. Whether it was that final possession with Clark, or the no call on Dewana Bonner just a minute earlier, or the whistle they did get on Lexi Hull, it felt like the standard kept changing. You could sense it on the court. Post-game, the frustration boiled over. Players were visibly upset, and head coach Steph White, she didn't sugarcoat anything. She made it crystal clear, to the media, to the fans, and directly to the WNBA league office, that the officiating needs to be better. That the players deserve fairness. A great battle, a close finish, but a tough pill for Indiana to swallow.
I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games. A minus 31 free throw discrepancy. And I might be able to understand it if we were just chucking threes, but we're not. We're attacking the rim. And the disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable. So it's disappointing, that it doesn't go both ways, or it hasn't gone both ways. But we also can't allow that to consume us, right? Like, we've got to be able to play through that. We've got to be able to control the things that we can control. I felt like at times our late game execution was good, and I consider most of the latter half of the fourth quarter, because it was a tight ball game. We're still not recognizing our mismatches. I felt like AB had plenty of opportunities. We could have gotten her touches down low, and we had some turnovers, key turnovers. We settled at times. We fought, but we can't dig ourselves a hole from the BA.
And that is the end of the ball game.
I haven't watched it yet, but use a reset timeout, ran it a little bit different, similar play to what we ran the other night when we played Atlanta here. I don't know, I have to go back and watch. I don't know.
I thought it was egregious, honestly. I thought it was obvious. I felt like AB got one, had one going to the rim. They're in rotation. DB's was crazy. And then Lexi's, I felt like equally, we talk about, coming into the path, and it was an offensive player veering into the defensive player's path. It is what it is. We have to be able to play through it. But at the same time, I feel like it's really disrespectful. Look, there's a system to making sure that we can send stuff in and communicate, our grievances, so to speak. I don't know that I ever feel like the system works. We're not looking for a change. We're just looking for consistency. I felt like the second half of Atlanta, at least at our place, was at least consistent, right? And that's the thing that we're looking for.
Let's be clear. This isn't just about today. This has been building for a while now. The frustration, the tension, it's been bottled up across several games for this Fever team. Now, yes, in this particular game the numbers were glaring. The Fever were outshot at the free throw line 32-5. That's not a typo. 32-5. But again, this isn't just a one-game issue. Go back to that recent home-and-home against the Atlanta Dream. The WNBA emphasized freedom of movement heading into this season, but in those matchups, that point of emphasis didn't seem to show up. The players felt it, the coaches felt it, and now it's starting to wear down their rhythm. And that brings us to Caitlin Clark. She's been feeling the squeeze. The last few games, she's had a hard time getting separation, struggled to break free, and hasn't exploded the way we've seen her do so many times before. In fact, last game was the first time since 2022 that she didn't make a single three-pointer. She went 0, 4, 5 from deep. And in this one, she missed her first 7 shots. Couldn't get anything to fall early. But late in the third quarter, she flipped the switch. Finally got one to drop, drew a foul, and then, like vintage Caitlin Clark, buried a 34-footer to end the quarter. That shot gave the Fever some momentum, a cushion heading into the fourth. It was a much-needed spark. But make no mistake, the bigger story is what's simmering beneath the surface. This team feels like they're not getting a fair whistle, and when it shows up in the stat sheet like that, 32-5, it only adds fuel to the fire.
That is play calling, some of that is recognition and flow, some of that is angles of our screens. We got to move her around a little bit more. I mean, she plays pretty much above the break all the time. And sometimes that's easy to predetermine how they're going to play certain actions. So we got to move around a little bit more in different actions.
Yeah, I think we struggled with our transition D there in the fourth to get started. And then gave up some layups, fouled a lot, and then JJ made some big threes for them to really put them back in the game. And yeah, those are, the defending champs. They're going to make plays. That's what they do. I thought we needed to find a way to stop their run a little faster, and that has to come collectively from the group. And we'll do a better job of that. We'll find ways to respond a little bit better and not get as stagnant.
The other major challenge for the Fever, maybe even more than the officiating, has been their own consistency on the court. Once again, they gave up a heavy load early, 55 points in the first half. That kind of defensive lapse puts you in a hole quickly, especially against a team like the Liberty. But then, almost out of nowhere, they flipped the switch. In the third quarter, they held New York to just 13 points on 4 of 19 shooting. That was the turning point. That defense is what sparked the comeback. The Fever went on a tear, plus 17 in that quarter alone, and turned a 15-point deficit into an 8-point lead heading into the fourth. That's how quickly this team can shift momentum when they lock in. But here's the thing, those kinds of wild swings, you don't want them. You don't want to live and die by one dominant stretch. What this team needs now is steady, consistent execution on both ends of the floor. And it all starts with defense. That third quarter showed what's possible. Now the goal is to make that effort the standard, not the exception.
We just have to make sure that we're playing consistent throughout the whole game. It's pretty easy to just say that our not getting over the hump in that fourth quarter, but I think our start, in that second quarter, they outscored us by a bit. So we have to make sure that our start is better, so that when we do get to the fourth quarter, it doesn't have to be this close. Yeah, our defense picked up. I think we're in the passing lanes, we were denying making all their catches tough. So I think once again, it goes back to our start. They scored 30 points that first quarter, even though we had 29. That's way too much for us. So we have to make sure, once again, we're up, we're denying, we're getting in their space, because they're a great team, and if they can pick you apart, they're going to do that.
And once again, foul trouble was a factor for Caitlin Clark. For the second straight game, she picked up a game-high 5 fouls, and that kind of situation changes everything. Not just how she plays, but how the Fever are able to use her. It forces the coaching staff to manage her minutes more carefully. It takes away some of her aggression on both ends of the floor. And it definitely disrupts the rhythm of the offense when your primary playmaker has to play cautiously. When Caitlin's in foul trouble, it's not just a number on the stat sheet. It's a ripple effect through the entire game plan.
We really played one good quarter of basketball and lost to the defending champions by 2, so I guess that's positive. A lot of ways to continue to get better, but yeah, I did not my best shooting night. I thought I could take care of the ball a little bit better. Had some tough ones, ones where my arm was getting grabbed, but whatever. But yeah, just keep battling through it, keep shooting it.
We have to do a better job collectively of understanding that individually we don't have to make the play that stops the run, or the play that turns the tide, the play that starts the run. We've got to continue to do, what allowed us to be successful in the third quarter, and that was ball movement. That was playing 1-second basketball. That was player movement, and making the easy play.
One bright spot for the Fever through these first 4 games has been third-year center Aaliyah Boston. It's a much different story compared to this time last year, when she stepped back from social media, took time to refocus, and committed to improving her conditioning and presence in the paint, especially in building chemistry with her point guard. Fast forward to now, and she looks locked in, confident, comfortable, and most importantly, consistent. She's been the Fever's most reliable player so far. The anchor, the steady force in the middle. That's exactly what head coach Steph White emphasized to her during the offseason, playing through her more, making her the centerpiece. And today, she delivered in a big way. 27 points, 13 rebounds. She's not just showing up, she's setting the tone.
Sent to the deck. The rebound, and she pushes the pace. Jones loses it behind the back. It's a 2-on-2 break. Hall trying to attack Cloud, spinning. Hall elevates, and Ionescu. Boston taking her time, kicks it back out to Hull. Stop it, pop it, hits the mini.
Really good job staying active.
Out there hooping, doing what my team needs for me. I think for me, I try not to honestly look at how I'm doing, but what I'm doing to affect our team. And so just making sure that I can do everything, score the ball around the rim, be consistent there. So for me, that's really my focus, just making sure that I'm consistent, scoring the ball, defending, and being able to grab some rebounds.
Now, after opening the season with a dominant 35-point blowout over the Sky, things haven't looked nearly as smooth since. The Fever's last 3 games have all come down to the wire, decided by a total of just 8 points. And when you narrow that down to their 2 losses, only 3 points separate them from being undefeated right now. That's why you hear the frustration, not just from the players, but from the entire team. They know how close they are, but at 2-2, it feels a lot heavier than just an even start, especially for a group with championship expectations. The reality is, the margin for error is razor thin right now. They don't have the luxury of coasting through stretches. They need to lock in for all 40 minutes, stay disciplined, and string together full, complete quarters. That means timely stops. That means limiting those big runs from the opponent. And it means being ready to punch back when momentum starts to shift. Because in this league, being close isn't good enough.
We are 2 possessions or, from being 4-0, but there was so many little areas in this game that we could have improved. Like our defense, again, to start the game was poor. And we got to find a way to come out with more energy, be able to guard.
Now, what's really worked for the Fever, when they've looked their best, is when they keep the ball moving. When they're reading the floor, finding mismatches, and embracing the simple plays, the singles, not always swinging for the home run. That's something head coach Steph White talked about, using that baseball analogy to emphasize playing smart, steady basketball. It's also about keeping the energy level consistent, something that can be tough with the natural highs and lows of a game and even the crowd. Like when Caitlin Clark buried those deep threes in the 3rd quarter. This building was electric. That kind of moment changes the energy in an instant. But then the Liberty answered with a run, and the air kind of went out of the place. That's what they're trying to avoid, the emotional dips, the momentum crashes. Because in a game decided by just 2 points, every possession, every emotional swing matters.
1 second left. Clark doesn't get the shot off. Cloud locks her up, and New York comes into Indianapolis and takes the checkered flag.
Be ready when you come in. When you come in here, Indiana has such great fans and their culture. So we knew it was going to be a tough one. We knew it was going to be a fight, and for their team to be a new team, they're doing really well and they're playing really well together. So we expected it.